is up? What
What's
is
up?
up, Camelback fam? Welcome.
Yes.
Yes, welcome to another episode of Humble and Hungry Live, the series where we sit down with entrepreneurs who are changing the game in education and conscious tech. I am your host, Lex Lindsay, Senior Associate of Marketing and Communications at Camelback Ventures. And I am so hyped to have joining me today my sis, Krystal Barnett from Bridge to Hope and Camelback Fellow. Krystal, what's
Hi.
up?
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Welcome. We're super, super excited to have you. Super excited to get into this conversation. I did a quick introduction, but I would love for you to please share with everybody tuning in just a little bit more about yourself and the work that you're doing with Bridge to Hope.
I'm Crystal, everyone. I am a mother. I have two children, one 12, one now soon to be 21. The work we do at Bridge to Hope is education advocacy work. A lot of work with our parents whose kids go to school in the lowest 10%. And we want them to be the best advocates and for their children to get the best resources and graduate reading on grade level. So we're super committed to it. And our focus right now is literacy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So I'm super excited. The work that you're doing is very, very necessary, very, very impactful. Just creating space for parents and caregivers to ensure that our kids have what it is that they need to be successful. So
Yeah.
very, very looking forward to getting into this conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to take it back to the beginning
Yeah.
of what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and led you to founding Bridge to Hope.
I think it was two things. I feel like the child that we're trying to reach. And I also feel like my mother was one of those parents who needed someone to show her and guide her on how to be a better advocate. Um, from my own journey, it was not the smoothest journey, but I did make it through high school. But I remember how my mom felt not knowing how to navigate certain things. When you hear things that are troubling about your child, she didn't know how to really combat it or what questions to ask. And I think that's what happens to a lot of families and parents across the region. And I think just being more prepared and knowing what are schools responsible for and then how to build the bridge between the two is why I started Bridge to Hope.
Awesome, awesome. And could you talk a little bit more about just like the work that it is you're doing, kind of go into, how is it that you're engaging with parents and trying to be a driving force for change within the education system for our kids?
From the most grassroots level. So we still door knock, we still phone bank, we go to tabling events, we do it by word of mouth. Any way that we can connect with a family who's in the K-12 system, we're talking to you. And if we find out that they care, them too care about education and that their child is struggling or they're routed to a school that's failing, then those are the people that we build the power with.
Awesome, awesome. And could you talk about, I guess, some of the programs that you've put in place or like some of the initiatives and things that you've been working on?
Woo! Okay. So our Parent Education Advocacy Academy is the one I'm super excited about. It's the prep work I believe every parent should go through our program to have before their child even enters K-12. And it also starts to show you and guide you on what you should be looking for from kindergarten through the 12th grade. Our number one initiative right now is to get the district schools to commit to a plan for literacy, like a unified one. I'm sorry, my phone's ringing. Hold on. And I don't know how to stop it. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. Technology. Um, the literacy initiative is to get all of our elected officials in the state of Missouri, all of our local people in St. Louis City and Normandy to sign on to a unified literacy campaign for all. And we want them to set actual clear outcomes for kids over the next 10 years. So instead of it just being a plan of knowing that we're going to implement like the science of reading or something to that nature to train teachers. I'm talking about like tangible numbers that say we're going to raise 20% by year one. We're going to move it by 30% by year three. Like we're going to move it at 50% by year five. And then by year 10, 90% or more. Like to make sure that our kids, all of them, are proficient and doing well in any school that they're assigned to.
Mm. Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Definitely setting those kind of quantifiable milestones and
Yes,
marks
we
are
need to
important. Yes. And I want to dive a little bit into just like the like how you're engaging with parents. Like, what is it that you're empowering, or how is it that you're empowering them to take action on behalf of our kids?
Two ways. So I don't look at it us as empowering. I more look at it as igniting the fire, right? So I feel like every single person and parent connected to a child already has the fire. They just didn't know how to light it and then use the skills that are required. So what they do with Bridge to Hope is when we bring them in, one, we connect them knowing that we call them cousins. And the reason I call it the people cousins from day one is to know that Bridge to Hope is family. And
Mm,
we want strong families, strong parents, and strong kids. When it goes to what people need to learn, we don't present the information as if it's something you didn't know. We present it as here's a thing that you need to use, and then here's how to use it. So that they know that they're powerful walking in the door, and then you leave out more equipped to exercise your power.
mm. And yes, yes. So essentially, it's like igniting, like you said, igniting the power that's already prevalent within us. I
Yeah,
think a lot of times, like I use the word empowering, and I sometimes have to double back because it's like the power is already there. Like you already have it. It's just giving you the platform to be able to stand up in that power and use it and exercise it.
I
Um,
think in Bridge to Hope, what's different about us is people who come from broken homes, folks who have never felt the family unity or the village, is the first time they're walking into it with us. And it also shows how much our community is still willing to trust, even after all the betrayal that they have experienced.
mm,
So walking in with Bridge to Hope, meeting me for the first time, meeting my staff for the first time, and then having a space of belief that we're going to actually do the things that we promise you we're going to do in our programs and actually stay with you after you graduate is something that I think is unique. I think after when people do graduate, when you see them then going to exercise it without you, is then the power I'm speaking to. So even when a Bridge to Hope staff member is not around and you're still advocating for your child, even when you're showing up to a parent teacher conference different, even when you're going to a school board meeting for the first time, you're using and activating the power that was already within you, and now you know how. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
yeah, no, that sounds, man, I mean, that's what it's about, right? Is like, eventually you want to be able to go out there and use your voice, and not, us kind of, we're just like ushering you towards,
Exactly.
giving you the information that you need to be able to do it. But to see people like actually taking action and knowing, like the having the confidence. And I mean, you were just speaking to it before, just like the trust, the ability to come back and trust in community,
Yeah.
after you've had, disappointments and broken promises. Like that's huge. That is huge.
I definitely don't want it to feel like fluffy work. It's definitely hard work. It's definitely a pain point of agitation that we do find, but we look for our parents to find out what do they care about. Every parent has a set of priorities that they're focused on. And sometimes when you have a whole lot of other life going on, then school and what's happening in the schools aren't always top priority. But if you can show a parent how to balance both, that's a hell of a thing to have.
Right.
Something that you can use, not even outside of advocating for education, but just in life in general. And I
Right.
pouring into people and making sure that they know that they're supported and connecting them with other people who are experiencing the same things, but building that hope and belief that something new can be different based on your action that you take, based on the disruption that you cause, based on how committed and relentless that you are. Like that's a different type of community that we building. And I'm
Right.
that
Oh man, that's love. That is love. So I want to shift gears a little bit, and talk about just like the entrepreneurial journey. You're a mother, you're a black mother, you're a black woman, and you're a founder. You have your own venture, which is like all of those things. It would feel or seem unlikely,
yeah.
uh, but here you are. And so I want to ask, just speak to the challenges that you faced, on this journey of entrepreneurship, and how you've overcome or navigated those challenges.
I think one of my biggest challenges has been me just accepting that I'm here. Like to see CEO by my name or to know that 3 years or 4 years ago I founded something and it's working, right? I didn't say it was perfect, but it's here. It's doing some of the things I wanted to do. We're adjusting and navigating. So it's like relaxing and knowing that you're here and like own it is one of the things that I'm still working on. Um, Another challenge I think would be like to be comfortable when you walk in rooms where you think you don't belong.
Mm.
Like just sitting in your own space of knowledge, knowing that you're an expert in the work that you do, being confident in the brilliance that you bring, even though there's other brilliant and smart people around you, can always be almost self-sabotaging sometimes if you internally don't believe you belong there. So that's something I'm also working towards. I think what's exciting about entrepreneurship though is you get to map your own path. Like I don't have to really answer to anybody anymore. I can dream the way I want to dream, envision the way I want to vision, and build the things that I want to build with the people that I care about and for the children that I want to serve. And I think entrepreneurship is the like lane that gave me that space to do that and a
Oh,
space to grow my own leadership and then like to step in it on like you are growing, you are evolving, you are becoming, an actual CEO, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
it is. That's very cool. I know, I love that you spoke a little bit, it was touching on, like, imposter syndrome, right? When we step into spaces and maybe don't fully understand or embrace the power that we have when we come into a space, and it can, be a little bit daunting, but really like digging in and thinking outside of that and knowing like I do belong in this space, like what I'm building is important and it means something, and I am the person to be leading this work.
Yeah,
Like that's, I know that can be tough sometimes, especially when a world that's, like a founder and CEO, they don't look like us all the time. We don't see us in those positions and roles all that often. But being able to coach yourself up to a point of confidence where you're like, no, I belong in this room,
yeah.
and I have something to say and something to offer. Um, that's powerful.
I think one thing I learned is like every room is not unwelcoming. So that was like a joyful thing that I found in this work. Like everybody is not looking to shut you out, and everybody is not looking to not respect you because you're a black woman leader of a brand new nonprofit. Some people are really willing to embrace the different and the new that people like me bring. And I think that counteractive like thinking or that counteractive experience then based on the other things that you've experienced is what also helps you stay committed to doing it right. It's
Mm,
like knowing that every single room you walk in won't be a battle. Every single room you walk in won't be, you won't feel like you don't belong there. Some will make you like wrap you up and embrace you and really like teach you and guide you and give you wisdom and pour into you, and I've experienced some of that too, and it's been really great. It's been
yeah.
really great.
Would you say that when you kind of, when you're coming into different spaces, do you lead with that? Do you just, you're like, you don't even make the assumption that it won't be an unwelcoming space. You make the assumption that it will be. Would you say that that's something that you like to try and practice?
Yes, I'm learning to because I've been learning through all of the other spaces I'm in to like assume positive intent.
Mm,
Like not to just walk in automatically ready to go to war. It's not required all the time. And sometimes you miss opportunities when your past experiences then interject into your new possibilities. And I don't want that to happen.
mhm. Oh, that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I feel like we kind of hopped into the next question about advice, that you would share. But I want to ask if you had one piece of advice that you could share with your younger self, when, the very beginning of your journey as an entrepreneur, even before, what would that one piece of advice be?
Um, I think it would be to know that the old me, the me that never thought I would be here, is what prepared me to be here. So like embrace all of the things that happened to me, all of the crazy I did, all the mistakes I made is what grew my empathy, is what built my ability to build relationships, is what carried me through all my tough times, is why I can navigate tough situations with a more level head, is because I did it the rough way and I learned to do it differently now. And now I can pour into people and actually help them to see that your past is not your future. Cause look at me.
Yes, yes. Come on, embracing that lived experience and finding the silver lining in it. I love that.
Indeed.
Awesome. So I want to talk now about your fellowship experience. You are
Oh!
2022 Camelback Fellow. Represent, represent. So Can you tell us a little bit about your fellowship experience and how you felt like the Camelback Fellowship supported your growth as a founder and your venture's growth?
Let me just start by saying from the very first day at Camelback when I met my other cohort members, we had a bond like shoes and shoestrings, right? And I had never in my whole life been in a situation or a fellowship like Camelback where the people greeting each other for the very first time, coming from all different places and spaces, or walking up hugging and crying. So happy to meet you. I can't wait to do this process with you. And to be honest, we're still like that. Camelback made the biggest impact on me thus far. It showed me that you can meet strangers and become family, and it don't take forever. That you can grow those connections and stay connected even after the fellowships end. I even think even our teachers, even Caroline and Carolina, and all the other folks that we met, Liv and you, like all of you all, we feel like are like we like this, right? Like I don't think I've seen you all in a minute, but like if I pick the phone up, it's gonna be like we never missed a beat. If I call Carolina tomorrow, it's gonna be like just like it was in fellowship. It was just so beautiful, and I think how it helped with my entrepreneurial journey is they started teaching me how to start thinking outside of the box for growing Bridge to Hope. What does it look like to turn us into like a for profit? How are we going to maintain our business past just the grants and type of philanthropic funding? And I think before then, I had never even been exposed to the other possibilities. Camelback changed my life, and the fact that I even got in was just lit because like the process is not the easiest, and you got to do your best to do it, and I seem to do it. So it was
Um,
definitely a blessing.
so it's funny that you say that. First off, thank you so much for sharing your story and just the impact that Camelback has had on you. I of the cohorts that I've seen, your cohort specifically was very, very special because, like you said, from day one, I mean, y'all were tight knit, and I've seen, in the interactions and the times that you guys will connect with each other at these different events that are outside of the fellowship. Like
Yeah,
it's been a year, but you still stay so close and so connected and supportive of one another. Like it is truly a beautiful thing to see, like that that happen, that community, like within your cohort, and then beyond and expanding with other cohorts. So I really appreciate you sharing all of those kind words. I know everyone at the Camelback team is just loves to have you as part of the Camelback fam. Krystal, we love you.
thank
Uh,
you.
I want to ask just about your advice for people who want to apply to the fellowship because you mentioned, it's a difficult process. Um, but we're in the middle of a fellowship application. And for those who might be tuning in that are interested in applying, if you could give them one piece of advice on, how to make their application stand out, what would that piece of advice be? I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but
Nah, because I got some advice. So I actually did a video instead of writing mine because I'm better at like orating than writing. And I think for people out here who struggle with the writing piece, do your video, right? Like let them see your most authentic self. Wear your best t-shirt or your favorite color or whatever like brings you joy and then go to work, right? Like I really feel like that's what put me or set me apart from the other people, to be honest, is because on that video I was actually able to just tell you exactly why I wanted to be there, what I thought Camelback would offer, what I feel like I was doing with Bridge to Hope, and then how I wanted to grow it. So I feel like anybody that want to do it, go do it. Like, don't worry about what you think somebody else doing. Just bring your best self to it, however you submit it.
yes, yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. Be sure to y'all make sure y'all take that note down. Authenticity, authenticity.
For sure.
Awesome. So I want to talk about legacy. The work that you're doing with Bridge to Hope is huge. Being able to and it goes beyond, like you had mentioned earlier, it goes beyond preparing and helping parents be advocates within the education system, but like seeing the power that they have within themselves to be advocates within other assets or aspects of their life. And so when we talk about legacy, how do you hope Bridge to Hope changes the world for the better and the legacy that you leave behind?
I've been thinking about this for a while, but what I hope we do is shift the whole community ecosystem. Like instead of us being like just heavily focused on education, I'm talking about the whole mindset of how a community then interacts with each other, the way that we then will show up for one another when we need to, even the holding people ourselves accountable piece and each other accountable. I want us to impact all of those spaces because a different ecosystem for the community then creates a whole new environment for our children. And that's what we really want to be true. Education is like one piece to the big puzzle of all things that a child needs for its ability to grow, learn, and be the best adults they can be. And then the more we're pouring into all those different aspects and connecting the dots instead of looking at them and operating in silos, the better off we are. The reason we call Bridge to Hope is because we are the bridge to whatever the resource is, to whatever the next connection is, to whatever the next space you're trying to get into. We want to be able to create a smooth transition for our community so they don't feel blocked out, shut out, unheard, any of it. Like knowing that they belong in spaces, understanding how to navigate them, how to build some power and ignite other people, and doing it in your own way, right? Like nobody will ignite the same, but if we all doing it, then there's no unlit fires in our community. And then imagine what that'll look like.
Oh, man, yes, yes, you over here preaching, let's go. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that with us. So we're currently in this entrepreneurship is campaign where all year long we've been highlighting entrepreneurs like yourself, who have, you know, beautiful stories to tell about what entrepreneurship means to them, and are just doing it in a different way. And so I want to ask, when you think about the work that you're doing with Bridge to Hope and the future world that you just described, that, impacting and revolutionizing the way that, we community, the way we look at community. Why do you think social entrepreneurship is so vital to creating a more just and equitable world?
I think it's two reasons. It used to be that our battle was more like racially driven, like you didn't have access to opportunity if you're a person of color. But now it was really just boiled down to economics. So
Mm,
like just the wealthy versus the ones that don't have enough resource and opportunity. Um, I think that social entrepreneurship then it equalizes the playing field. It brings the equity into the space that doesn't exist. It brings the brilliance out. Like it gives people opportunities. There's brilliant people everywhere who might not have even the time to do something like I'm doing, but to see me do it then pushes them to go want to pursue it, right? Then launch that business that we've never seen, then bring that different spin on something that we've never had that would then create that ecosystem I was speaking to. The capital and the investment, the way the world is going now, is shifting towards people like us. So this is like a golden time or like it's like an open doorway right now for people to really like bring every single brilliant thing you got in here and get connected to the way to make it grow. And then once it gets people catch fire to it, people find out what you're offering, they commit to your mission and vision, then we can go grow it like wildfire. And I think for the first time those type of opportunities in itself is going to shift everything. We have young people who are already millionaires. We have kids who are creating things at 10 and 12 years old. We have adults who thought their lives were over who are launching businesses for the first time. Like you creating wealth within your generational wealth within your family that you've never seen. There's so much positivity happening because of social entrepreneurship. So we got to keep it going. And shout out to the funders who are doing it different for sure.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Shout out to the funders who are out here, searching out, different funding differently, really trying to build equity and justice within the philanthropy,
Yeah,
within the funding landscape overall, right? Because I mean, we need the dollars, y'all.
we
Experience,
do.
coaching, and all that. We get it, but we also need the money. So
And it's definitely like some people out here. I won't name people, but it's definitely some funders out here who are doing it different, showing up different, really in partnership with the folks they invest in, really letting them lead the work, but providing the means. Like it's like it feels better. You move different. It builds so much belief and positivity that it makes other people pay attention to what they're doing. So they're setting an example. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, that's definitely some movement happening for sure, which I love to see for our entrepreneurs of color and women. Um, all right, so I mean, we're kind of wrapping up here.
Okay.
What's next? What's next for Bridge to Help in 2023 and beyond? What are you guys working on? Any campaigns? Anything we need to keep an eye out for?
We're getting ready to launch the Bridge to Freedom campaign. That'll be what we're working on for the next 2 years. Knowing that in 2025 they're going to reseat a new board. We're also hoping that some new legislation will come out next year in the next open session that'll have something to do with tangible deliverables for literacy in our state and especially in the largest district in our city. And then our team has grown, Lex. Like it went from 3 people to like 21.
Oh,
So
wow.
and then what's cool about that is half of my team is parents that came from the fellowship. So we find ways to not only empower our community with knowledge, but to also give them opportunities to join careers, to become organizers, to be in ops positions. If you have the skills and backgrounds to be the program directors, like our current one, she started in cohort one. So there's so many ways that we pour back into our community, not just knowledge based, but tangibly and with real deliverables that change lives. So our what's next, I'm sure it'll be bigger than that.
Yes, yes. You mentioned the Bridge to Freedom campaign. Where is that something that's going on now, or you're going to be launching that in the coming months?
We're gonna launch it during Literacy Month, which is in September. So
Mm.
it'll be on our. We have a new website coming out at the end of August. We'll launch the Bridge to Freedom campaign on there. We'll share it on all our social medias. Run a social media campaign too, and then we'll have a pledge or something that people can sign on to commit to. That we're going to present to our legislators by the end of this year, and then hopefully in the next school board meeting going into next year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that is a very, very exciting thing. Definitely keep us posted on that because we'll be sure to support and share out the word too. Try to get some traction behind there with you.
Oh, and we're hiring too. So if y'all have any, if you know anybody who's a good candidate for a COO or someone that's a good candidate for a program manager, then send them our way because we're currently fielding applications, reading resumes for Bridge to Hope right now because we're trying to expand. So
Oh, well, I mean, we could jump right over here. How can people connect if they want to learn more about you, if they want to, explore more about these opportunities that you have coming up, the positions you have available? How can people get connected with you, Crystal?
you can get on LinkedIn and look up Bridge to Hope, and then you can connect with us at info@stlbridgetohope.org. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's at Bridge, the number two Hope on Twitter. It's Bridge to Hope St. Louis on Facebook. And I think it's Bridge to Hope St. Louis on Instagram as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then, I mean, as we're kind of wrapping things up, I like to ask folks, and you talked about this a little bit earlier, but we're just going to stamp it down in the spirit of entrepreneurship. Um, what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
It's the ability to be free.
I love it. I love it. I have one more question because it's also this month is also like mid or National Wellness Month.
Yeah.
Um, so we know the journey of an entrepreneur can be is lonely and it's hard and it's filled with a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows. What are some ways that you practice self care, especially in those points, those low points along your journey?
I've been reading more, like just to build my mind with positive things and knowledge that I may or may not know. I do take my time away from my children at least once a week. Go to nails, go to massage, go to the park, go to sleep. You know, just stuff that you don't normally get to do in busy weeks. And one thing I will say is prayer helps. If that's something that you believe in, something that you do, prayer very much helps you stay stable, stay constant, go through things without it feeling like it's a weight on you. So it's a form of release for me, and I definitely use it and do it, and
Hmm.
it works and it helps. It helps
Yeah,
me navigate the tough times, and it also helps you celebrate the great times. Like
yeah.
it brings a thankfulness and gratefulness piece in. So
Awesome. Thank you for sharing those with us because I know, sometimes it is tough out here. Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, life be life. And so
be life.
Thank you for sharing the self-care tips for sure. Well, Crystal, it has been so awesome just getting to connect with you. It has been a minute since we've seen each other, but I'm glad we got to share, some more about your story and the work that you're doing out there in St. Louis with folks. Um, as always, thank you to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. It's been a pleasure. A quick announcement. I mentioned it earlier, but we are currently in the 2024 Camelback Fellowship application cycle. So the application is open, y'all. If
Sign
you
up, y'all.
Yes, if you are building an education or technology venture, you're an early stage founder, be sure to head over to our website, www.camelbackventures.org/apply and submit your application. The deadline is September 11. And we'll be back. We'll be back for another Humble and Hungry on September 5th. So, keep an eye out for who that guest will be. Until then, be well, and we'll catch y'all next time.
See y'all soon.